Hi everyone, you're with Lucy from Art Shed Angel, and I am very excited today to be bringing you my Advent Day 6 video. Now this is so important because it's a bit of nostalgia. So if you want to watch more of these videos, please head over to Live Art Journaling and Self-Development. All the videos for the first 5 days, plus all the ones to come, will be there. There'll be a link in the description. So make sure you subscribe to my page and comment, and then head over. All the things in this video will be listed in the description below, and also the link to Live Art Journaling and Self-Development. Now I am making a lovely little book today, which is very, very close to my heart because it's about my grandmother, who was a very, very good cook. She was Dutch Indonesian, and this is a little picture of her that I've printed out, and I'm going to put this with one of my favorite recipes that she used to cook, and that would be pineapple tarts. I'm actually going to put this recipe in the description as well, a link to it in the group. And these little pineapple tarts were a very big favourite thing when we gathered at Christmas with my grandmother. So I have printed the recipe on a piece of A4 paper, and I've cut it into 10 centimetre strips because I want to end up with a long strip. I've also got 2 pieces of cardboard that are 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres. I think that's approximately 4 inch by 4 inch if you're in the imperial scale. Now, with the first thing we're going to do with this is we're going to cover the ends of the book. Now with the end pieces of the book, I'm going to use some tissue paper that I've actually coloured with my jelly plate. So I also have a link in the description on that video that I have done, or my jelly plate videos, so you can have a look. It's really good to use up the extra ink on your jelly plate when you're doing jelly prints on tissue paper. So I'm just putting this on with matte medium and brushing the matte medium on, and then I'm just placing the paper over the top. Now, my grandmother didn't really like fussy things. She was a simple lady. She grew up in Surabaya in Indonesia, and she lived quite a simple life. So I didn't want to make this book too elaborate, too fussy. I just wanted to do it in colours that I knew she would like, and the colours that I'm using here are the pinks and blues because she used to wear beautiful headscarves in these colours. She always had her head covered from the sun. So you just fold over the edges of this tissue paper and make it pretty neat, but I'm not even worrying too much about this, so just fold them over and fix them down so that they're stuck down nicely, and that's the only important thing here. So you could use any kind of white glue or medium that I have used, and I'm just folding the corners over. Because it's tissue paper, you can actually even rip some of the bits off, and that also gives it texture. In day 2 of my Advent Hop videos, I actually showed you how to make some faux gold leaf. So that's what I'm going to use some of the leftovers here, because you've always got to keep those leftovers for other projects. So what I'm doing here is adding that faux gold leaf to my pages, just to give a bit of texture and color to it. Now if you want to watch that video, the link for that will also be in the description, and you'll be able to make some yourself. So I've used copper and gold paint there, and it's really luscious and so much easier to handle than actual gold leaf. Now again, I'm keeping this simple. My grandmother really loved like beautiful nature things and nature colors and that as well. So I want to keep this reasonably simple so that I am depicting that. So I want to put her picture on the front of the book, obviously, and I'm just using some lovely white paper I have here, which is like a mulberry paper that has some hearts imprinted in it. And with the mulberry paper, I am just tearing the edges because I want a nice fuzzy edge on this. So I'm not ready to stick any of this together quite yet. I'm just placing things so that I get an idea of where I want them to be. So I'm now going to cut out one of the pictures. I've printed 4 so that I could use one. I'm actually going to put one in my wallet, but I also wanted to make sure that if I damaged one, I'd have enough. And I'd never use an original photo for this, so I just use one of the photos that I have that I could print out. And it actually was a colour photo, but I've done it in black and white so that it looks nice with the colour schemes I'm doing. So I'm kind of making sure that I've got that all placed where I want it to be. And then it's time to do some decoration. Now my grandmother did like flowers, so I'm using my Signo broad pen here to do some little bit of doodling on the page just to make it a little bit more interesting. So I'm just doing some quick doodles and covering the background a little bit with some patterns. I remember that she had some headscarves with some beautiful, beautiful patterns, and she loved paisley, so I've used that in this. Now I'm just going to use my Stabilo all pencil here because I want to darken the background just ever so slightly behind where I'm going to put her picture. So I'll just darken that. That just gives a nice sort of grey charcoaly effect behind. The fun thing about this project is collecting together little bits and pieces and having a little thought about the things that you want to put on. So I'm sticking this, the photo and that down now, but I'm also putting a bit of jute string because, funny story, she was not into lace and she was not into ribbons and things like that. But she did use her jute string a lot for tying her plants up and doing things in her kitchen and fixing things. She would use this jute string, and I know there used to be some on the pram wheel board that we used to carry, go around the garden with. So I have happy memories of the jute string. So instead of putting something really fancy there, I've decided to put that there because that reminds me of her. So I'm just putting that now behind her photo, just as a little bit of a decoration. And now I'm just adding her name. So I called her Alma because Alma's a Dutch name for grandmother. And funnily enough, we used to call her Little Alma because she was very, very little. She was actually only 4'6" tall, so she was quite tiny. So now I have the front and the back done, and I'm thinking I'd just like a little bit more bling because I like the bling. Not so much Alma, but I like the bling. So I'm just putting some of this Robinson acrylic copper paint on it. So I'm just dabbing my finger very flat to get this on. So if you want to get just texture, just make sure you dab the paint on your finger. I'm also going around the edges of my recipe with the copper paint just to add a little bit of difference to it. You could age this paper if you like, but I didn't really in this case want it to be an aged looking piece of paper. I just wanted to have that look about it. Now I've also I want to make it one long strip. So here what I've done is I'm sticking the strip together because we're going to fold the strip. Now the reason it needed to be cardboard is so that it could stay shut without having to have a tie on it, and you'll see the end product, it doesn't need a tie. So just make sure you take some care here and make sure that it's also straight. It's important that your piece of card is straight so that you can fold it neatly. Now I'm going to use the back cover to help me fold it, but I'm just going to trim this excess off. Now you could put a little bit of story there or a photograph or anything else if you wanted to leave it on there, but I'm just trimming it off in this case, and I'm just going to place that recipe inside the book. So I'm going to put it in with double-sided tape and let it sit within the book with double-sided tape. So you can see here I'm leaving about 1 centimetre at the top, and then I'm folding it backwards and forwards, and this is where the cardboard is important because it's going to actually hold its shape so that the book will actually fan out, and it can be hung on a Christmas tree or just sat somewhere as a little memorabilia thing. This is a great gift. I think it'd be a great gift for a grandchild who enjoyed that food that grandmother cooked. So just stick this down. So as you stick it down, remember to leave that about 1 centimetre at the top because we're going to punch some holes in, and then we're going to use some string to tie it up. So here we have our recipe all ready, and it folds out beautifully. and then I put the top on. Now the top is important that we are going to put 2 holes in the top. Now you can use ribbon to put it together, but again I want to follow the theme of my grandmother and put the jute thread there. Now I'm cutting the back holes first to make sure I have them right, and then I'm marking them through to the front to make sure I have the holes all even, because my punch wouldn't go through both layers. And I'm just making sure that I punch it in the same place. And again, you could use ribbon to put this together, but like I said, I really like the theme of the jute. I wanted to make this a simple project. I know a lot of people are feeling not too creative at the moment, but I know that if you sat and thought about it, that you might have a grandmother or somebody who has a recipe or something that you'd like to share with others, and this is a lovely way to do it. So I'm just now putting the jute string through, and I'm going to make this a little decoration that you can hang up. You could even put a magnet on it. It could go up in the kitchen or anywhere, but it's one of those little gifts that you could hang. You could hang it on the Christmas tree if it was a special Christmas recipe. I think everybody can remember some wonderful times with Christmas recipes and things like that. So I'm just tying it here. Don't tie this too tight. You want it loose enough so that you can open the book. And then what I'm going to do is take that knot, just tie it there, not too tightly. Then I'm going to tie a little loop at the top so that I can make it into a hanger. So Christmas is a time for remembering lots and lots of things, but I know that one of the happy memories I have is these special little tarts, and especially my grandmother, who was one of the greatest loves of my life. So here we have this beautiful little recipe book that you can take out. It flips back in, and it ends up being a lovely little triangular book that can stand on its own or be hung on your Christmas tree. So make sure you subscribe to my channel, and also look in the description for the link to live art journaling and self-development, and there you'll find the link to the next hot participant. Thanks everyone. Bye.